Well, I'm far enough along sorting through all the bolts that were laying in the box and can at least get started on putting the rear seat kit on. So I went through the checklist of hardware and got them sorted into piles. There's a couple extra of some that don't even match what's on the chart. And I mentioned in one of my previous videos that I've got a problem with one of the mounts for these backrest supports. There is no threaded hole in the chassis. So you can see, like in this guy right here, there are threads in the hole. Same in that one, threads in the hole. This one here had nothing. So usually if it strips out, you can kind of tell that there were threads in there. This had nothing at all. So I don't know what happened to that hole. So what I did was I just notched out a little piece of the body here. Now this will all get covered by the seat kit. I didn't want to have to do this, but I also didn't want to have one of these supports being loose, because that would bother me worse than putting this little hole in here. So what I did was put a nut. I was holding it in there with my finger. So now I have a nut. It's actually a lock nut that I can put a wrench on now through the hole. If I get it started up here and tip it down, then I can put the wrench on there so I can get that tightened down. So I'll get these seat brackets mounted. This is the left side, driver's side. The flat gusset you want facing out. So I'll get those mounted. Check back in with you. Okay, step 5. We're gonna need to drill out, there's 2 holes in the bag well. They have like a plastic rivet in it, right here. One right here. It says to use a 3/8 drill bit. So we're gonna drill all the way through there, and we need H106 bolts, which I have them all laying out here. Some washers and nuts. So drill them out. Get that out of here. You're supposed to drill through the frame too. Okay. Drill that. Holes are drilled. A little bit of crud in there. Okay, I'll make sure my bolts fit. Not sure why they need a 3/8 hole. When a 3/8 bolt doesn't fit. Yeah, these do not fit. So what am I gonna do? Step it up. Let's get my half-inch. Make sure I have something. Half-inch. Now my bolt will fit. A little big. Oh well. This step is, let's see if I can get you set up. Yeah, looks good enough. So we're taking this bar with the bend facing out. We're gonna put that right over our hole. We need a washer on there first. Put it through. Another washer and a lock nut. These bolts are really long. I'm not gonna tighten this out, I'm just snugging it up. So the leg's not flopping around so much. Same on this side. Washer and a bolt through there. A washer and a lock nut for the bottom. You want to leave these loose so you don't have to fight them and get them out to the seat bottom. So it goes right through the floor of the bag well. And now I'll get looks like the step 6 is you install the the seat frame. So we'll get that out. Got the seat frame just resting on here. So we're gonna go with, looks like we need to put washer on a bolt. There's a slot here and a slot out here. We're using the inner slots. And you put the head of the bolt through the seat frame first, and then a washer and a lock nut in here. Same on this side. Just finger tight on them. And it looks like the same bolts and washers go on the brackets down here. Might be a little dark. I don't know if you guys can see it. What does that look like? Looks like you can't really see what's going on. Maybe. So there's slots. I think we're supposed to go through the seat frame first. And we're going on the inside slots. So again, a washer on the bolt and stuck in there. And then put that vertical support in. Another washer. Washer on a bolt through the seat frame, through that vertical bar. Washer and just hand tight. You can see these slots a little bit better. This whole seat can kind of shift side to side. I'm sure it'll be pretty close to center in those slots once we get to that point. Looks like I got those. On to the next step. So I need to get the hardware out for the armrest support bracket that goes like where you sit all the way down to the bottom of the step. This is going pretty well. Actually finding the hardware okay, but I've got this arm just loosely fitted on there with his bolts. There's two through there that also holds this back support on. So everything is just hand tight, finger tight right now until we get the rest of it on. Our next step is to install these brackets down here, which are located here. Those are located in here. Get this unwrapped. Picture shows that this opening is supposed to be facing out. So that would be driver's side. Wish I could get you guys up a little bit higher here. Oh, my box one. There it is. Like I said, this opening goes to the outside. Got another washer on the bolt. Goes through the hole there. Another washer. And a bolt. Or a nut, I'm sorry. And you can see how this would have been a pain to try to cut the tail lights in later once all the stuff is in here. We still have to get the rear step in too. We just made it harder for ourselves. So washer on that bolt, another washer, and a nut. So this looks like it's going to support the back of the step. That's going to be on here. Next step is to get some more bolts, H107s, the long ones. Need 2 bolts, 4 washers, 2 nuts. Okay, which I got here. I'll just set them down for a second. And it looks like we can get the step picture shows the bolt will go in through the back of this bracket. So let's get the washers set on those. how we're gonna do this. It's gonna be pretty floppy until we get it set up on these arms. It looks like it just lays in there, something like that. I think everything is just a little crooked. Actually, I'm just gonna leave that resting there for a sec. I'm gonna get the rest of the bolts for the armrest. So more long bolts. And we also need these gussets. It looks like the hole goes on the bottom, and we've got lefts and rights. So this lip needs to support the step on both sides, and it looks like this will sit. Looks like it'll sit like that. So let's get these situated. Kind of just hoping everything stays. Necessarily not going to work though. We'll have to deal with one side at a time, and I'm going to drop it on the floor. So let's get that hooked in here. Washer and a nut. Let's try to get the other side started. Snug. Let's see if we can get these. Let's see, is the tape go in the slot? Or it doesn't really say where this should go. Can't tell what's straight. It lines up more with, there's a hole in the seat and not the slot. So, I don't know. I'll get this figured out and bring you guys back afterwards. Next step is getting our seat back brackets on. So they give you these brackets to mount on the back of the seat that comes with the kit. putting a lock washer on first. They're supposed to have black washers, but when the hardware bag ripped open and shipping, it looks like I lost a couple of those. So I had some zinc plated ones. These will work just fine. So kind of the same rule for these, you just want them snug. You don't want them tight. We'll see if I can get to the brackets after it's hanging on here. That will get bolted down through the top. And it looks like I should be able to get to all the bolts. So I'll bolt them to that crossbar first. I'll bolt them to this. Then I'll snug these up. And they should be nice and flat. The bracket should be nice and flat to the crossbar. And then I'll snug up these. Gotta figure out what hardware I need for those. Through the top, we need the 106s, which I've got 2 of them left. So I need 106s. 4 washers. 2 lock nuts. Bolt with a washer. There, washer, and lock nut. I don't think I need to keep everything loose anymore. Yeah, it looks like I can tighten everything up that I want. So I will start with the seat back. Might be a little loud. Looks like it, when you tighten this bolt, it twists that bracket a little bit, so we won't. That's just enough to snug it up. And I don't want to use the gun on this to tighten it. To tighten it all the way, because that's just like a nut cert in there. And you can very easily rip that out. So just use your wrench. You can see how loose everything is, yeah. Once you get that snugged, and you can finish up this guy. Looking at it, it's pretty much going to just center I'm gonna center this first. See where it likes to be. It kind of just lays there in the center. You can see that bolt is centered in there. So I'll probably snug those up first. Then I will straighten out those arms, those two vertical arms, to make sure they're nice and straight this way. And then I'll snug up everything else. And it looks like just gotta mount the seat cushion and my roof support bars. But before I mount the rear roof bars, I need to get the front bars back on. And one of these holes has a bolt broken off in it. Shoot, I don't know what's gonna happen with that. But I'll try to get those back on. And then we can try to fit that long black roof on there. I had to just keep working there for a little bit. So I was having a heck of a time with these two spots right here where that front roof support bolts in. Both of these holes had a bolt snapped off in them. So that wasn't fun. I had just enough sharp drill bits to drill all the way through, and you can put a washer and a nut on from the inside of the wheel well. So that front roof bar is nice and strong now. The spacers are still on here from the original roof, and this cart never had a roof on it when I bought it. So I'm just gonna leave those spacers on, and when I set the roof, the new long roof on it, I'll kind of gauge how high I want it. I'll probably have to put maybe a few more shims in here, depending on how high or what I want the roof line to look like. One of the reasons I bought this rear seat kit was because it had the regular candy cane shape roof bars. Now these were designed to go with the stock roof and turn in towards the center. But instead of mounting them in towards the center, because I don't have a stock roof for it, all the long roofs need a horizontal point to mount to along the length of the cart. So I drilled 2 new holes through this face of this pipe, and I didn't use the holes that it came with because that bar is not rotated in the direction to use it that way. The rear seat looks really nice. I like that tan that's on there. The stitching is a nice touch on there. There's like a little hand pocket. Stick your hand in to flip that seat up. Composite plastic. I wasn't sure what these brackets were for at first, and as I was putting it together, I realized that it actually has the mounts for adding seatbelts. So another nice thing about this rear seat kit, and I'll also link that in the info below the video. I couldn't get those vertical supports to be completely straight. They're good enough. The one thing I don't really like is how the step moves so much. I guess once you push it down and it stays down, it's fine. But I mean, you can only tighten everything so much before you start just smashing the square tubing that the bolt goes through. So I guess once it's stepped on, then it makes that noise too. I have no idea what that is. But I'm getting ready to put the long roof on for the first time. So I get you guys back in here so you can see what's going on. This should be good. Get you tipped up a little bit. And I'm all by myself, so I think I'll be able to get it on there. I measured this roof before I mounted those bars, the rear roof bars where they are. The outside dimension from here to the opposite side is exactly the inside dimension of the roof. So I made sure that this is the correct spot to mount these. If the roof was wider than where I have these bars, I could have moved them over and mounted them through this bar. So some people put these roofs on backwards. You see it all the time. The point of the roof, you can see it has a natural point to it. The point is the front. I don't know if that's for aerodynamic or what, but this higher spot in here is designed to be right over the driver's head and a little bit of extra space up here for the back seat riders. It's sitting on there a little crooked right now just because there's nothing to hold it on with. Maybe I could get a couple clamps. Open up that far. But I'll get that kind of, I'll get that roof kind of stuck in place where I want it. And it looks like on our other cart, I'll have to put the windshield on to check. But where the front of the roof is, I wanted it to be ahead of where the fold is in the windshield. So it's a flip down windshield. It'll come down to about here. If you set this roof back too far, the water will leak off the roof and behind the windshield that you have flipped down. So I always like to make sure it's just forward of where the break in the windshield is. And all, the morning dew on the roof will just run off and trickle on the outside of the windshield and off the cart. I definitely like the black and tan look on there. I gotta mount the original rear seat back on the brackets. But it's looking really nice. For a cart that was gonna go to scrap, we definitely saved it. And I am pleased with it. I like the way the rear seat kit looks, but it might not be as strong as I was hoping. But I ain't too worried about it. Hope you enjoyed the video. I will probably have a couple more, maybe for mounting some accessories and finish wiring the headlights and taillights. Thanks for watching.